Well, okay. What do we want to do, folks?
Well,
You know, the good news about this, folks, is, there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of talk. And so these are the things the council needs to work out and talk about. And we had 2 councilor members that are gone because of Art's doing his business thing across the seas, and Catherine's gone for Thanksgiving break. But and something else, folks, we did talk about this. Gary had mentioned this earlier, myself as well as council leadership. That'd be Art Bedke and Jim Bolin here several weeks back. And it just kind of slipped through the cracks. We last week for 3 days here, we had the legislative tour for all the newly elected legislators in the state of Idaho. And Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I was as busy as well as others doing different field trips on buses and all kinds of other things. And so this thing kind of slipped through the cracks, but it was not something that was done deliberately. So I just want to share that with everybody, and we got a ways yet to go. So,
given the testimony, Mr. Mayor, that we've seen tonight in support of this, I guess I would like to make a motion that the council direct staff to research the least cost alternatives to construct a bike pedestrian bridge across Paradise Creek at 3rd Street. And that research into those alternatives should include, but not be limited to, wood frame and portable structures, and that staff should report the findings of their research to committee by the end of January 2017.
folks, there's not a second yet, so.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody wants to second that motion or not.
Well,
Can I ask a question?
Well, look at the motion dies because of a lack of a second, but now you can answer your question.
Okay. Is the end of January doable?
We have not. We'll have to go in and prioritize, work with Les and his staff to see what we can do. I would say the end of January is extremely aggressive. We'll have to look at taking staff off some priorities that are grant-related priorities that we have to bid in the spring. So we've got to work it into the work plan, but can't make that decision.
I can make a new motion, given some input from you as to what the time frame is workable for staff.
Hang on a second before you do that, though, Jim. Gary, the bridge thing that we've got from Pullman, we haven't got a chance to review that yet. Do we have other alternatives besides that we can look at as well? I mean, I think we need to look at several different things. Linda Pike had brought up an idea from the county from 6 or 7 years ago. I don't remember. 2007, I think, is what she said, out by Robinson Park. But, I mean, those are the sort of things we need to look at as well.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Mayor, the concept of bringing in a design from another site, while it seems attractive, is really not terribly practical. Okay, the reason for that is those bridges are designed for specific locations, certain lengths, certain soil conditions, et cetera, et cetera. So the concept of those other types of bridges can be fine. It can give us ideas, but you can't just transfer bridge design necessarily without doing a lot of modifications. It requires an engineer to restamp it, relook at it. So yes, we can look at those concepts to see if those are transferable in terms of the idea. But you're going to end up designing a bridge specific to this site. Okay? It has to be unique to the site just because of the type of conditions.
Because every site's a little bit different.
Every site's different. Okay. So that being said, that does affect timelines in terms of what is available to us, under this motion. So there are different styles of bridges that are out there. We can do something similar to what was done on the College Street crossing, okay, which is similar to the type of bridges that Pullman has done elsewhere in their system. The style of bridge, which is a wood bridge that's being referenced that Pullman built at the Pine Street Square, is a possibility, as are others of that type. Higher maintenance costs associated with wood structures versus the steel structures. And there are others. I mean, there's concrete, there's different kinds of precast, there's a number of different things out there. So it would take us some time to research the different options, see what might work within the parameters of our site, and then come back with, okay, here's a summary of the different types. If we could get some kind of rough ideas of cost associated with those, because they're going to be quite a bit of variation depending on size, length, type of material, ongoing maintenance costs, operational costs, those kind of things. So it's not something that, you sit down in a short period of time and develop numbers that you can really, truly work with. You can get some idea of what's out there. We can do that, but then there's a lot of work beyond that. In terms of the timing, I can tell you right now, my engineering staff has 27 projects on the plate for next year. That's beyond what we're capable of doing. So we're already in the mode of figuring out what we're scaling back, keeping in mind that there's a lot of either DEQ grant or DEQ loan-funded projects, grant-funded projects, projects that are in the hopper for grants that we won't know yet for a couple more months. And there's just a lot of things going right now. So in terms of prioritization, it's going to take some interesting discussion with Gary about how we shuffle, what we can shuffle, and what we can actually achieve in this winter. So timing-wise, it's a little hard to put a date on it today. If I had to, I would probably say something more in the lines of midsummer, frankly, in order to allow us to get through the bid phase process with all those current projects that are going out the door.
Yeah, I think you
Hang on a
kind of,
second, Jim, I'm going to recognize John. He's had his hand up for 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I wanna
we
get-
have, it's been spoken to by people in the audience, by ourselves, that this is somewhat of a surprise to most of us. And we have been given information that, quite frankly, I didn't have time to read because I came in 10 minutes before the meeting and there's about 15, 16 pages to read. And then we just heard from Les that doing what the previous motion that died for a lack of second wanted to do was not really doable. Consequently, I would make in the time frame, and he gave us another time frame, but I would, at this point, make a motion that we table this discussion until sometime in the future, maybe the middle of the summer, when we've all had a chance to be brought up to speed on the whole process. Second.
Okay, well, we have a motion by John and a second by Walter to table the motion for further discussion, for more fact-finding. Is that what you're saying, John? Is that the idea of the table?
Yes.
Okay. Start with you, Walter.
Aye.
no.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you got 3 ayes and 1 nay. Jim being the nay, so this will be tabled. Folks, I want you to understand something. That doesn't mean this is dying out. Don't worry about that. This discussion, there's going to be more talk on this. One of the things I will say when it comes to engineering, and I drive engineers nuts because sometimes it seems really simplistic for me to get something done and plunk something down, and I got to realize that it's got to be safe too. So we got to look into it. But anyway, there will be more discussion. This is tabled at this time, and we will move on. So thank you, everybody that came and testified, spoke to us.